Six Nations 2021, Ireland 48 points to 10 over Italy. I kind of went into this one thinking, is this going to be one where a lackluster Ireland finally gets it right? They've been unlucky in their first two games, and do they finally kind of click? Or do Italy kind of shock the world by these young guys maybe firing and putting the Irish guys under a bit of pressure? No, it's the first one. It's the first one. And boy, man, disallowed tries left, right, and centre in this game. I've just watched it this morning. I got up pretty late. I haven't seen England and Wales yet. I do not know the result. Fortunately, I've shut myself off from the world. I do not know the results. All I know is Ireland beat Italy 48 points to 10. So pretty emphatic win. I'll go over some of the key moments, the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how you thought the game went. Interestingly, it's another one where Italy starts the game decently, like at least for the first, 2-3 minutes. Garbisi takes the ball. When he's tackled, he manages to get his knee on the ground. He doesn't get released, so they get a penalty. And then from that first penalty, they get another penalty. And that was just the Irish props kind of lying all over the board, the breakdown. So, 3-0 to Italy. They were in front at one point in this match. I think, have they been in front in all three of their games now? Anyway, they started pretty decently, but it didn't take long straight away. And we talked about this in the preview. The bloody offside penalties is one the Italians just cannot get right. Bigi gets penalised for, advancing while he was, in front of the kicker. The wingers are trying to put them onside, but you got to stand still until the wingers run up the sides and get level with you. I don't know how many, at least 3 times they got penalised for this kind of stuff. Pretty poor, like very controllable stuff. And Ireland immediately make it 3 points apiece. Like the softest penalty. Like if you're Italy taking on Ireland, you need to cut out all the unforced errors and be at the top of your game and hope that Ireland makes some mistakes. Anyway, it was a costly one. 7 minutes, Kelleher got a nice jackal. He won a breakdown penalty. Ireland went for touch and attacked. And one of the strangest moments of the game, Henderson knocks the ball on, apparently, as he goes over for a try. This has to be one of the biggest... I haven't checked the social media. I haven't checked the follow-ups and if something was missed. But is this not like the biggest blunder you've seen in a bloody long time? Does Henderson not just go over and score a pretty regulation try? Maybe there's something that I missed, but oh my goodness, that seems like an absolute howler from the ref and the TMO and the touch judges. I mean, it doesn't matter because eventually they score a few minutes later through Ringrose. After the Italians giving away a few offside penalties, they get warned for a yellow card to that effect. But didn't Henderson score like 2 minutes earlier? Anyway, that was a bizarre one. Some of the refereeing in this game was, it was fairly consistent and that both sides were getting penalised for the same stuff, but how many tries did Ireland get disallowed? Anyway. Ioane and Carlo Canna had a nice little move at one point, but the Irish defence was looking absolutely ferocious. They were pushing the Italians back kind of every little phase. There was a little chip through to Garbisi, which was nice because it was the only way they were going to get forward with the Irish defenders really pushing the Italians back. But eventually Ireland won a breakdown penalty. Interestingly, Jamison Gibson-Park was trying to keep things pretty high in terms of the pace, and he took a tap and he burst down the wing, but he ended up getting isolated and getting turned over as well. So some of the decision-making was ambitious, but maybe not appropriate at times. 17 minutes, Italians concede a penalty at the breakdown. Sexton just slots a 43-metre penalty. Easy as you like, so it's 13 points to 3. 22 minutes, Ireland get a yellow card warning, so that's what I mean about the consistency. They'd given a few penalties away in their own red zone. The Italians turn down the 3. They kick for touch. They go for a line-out. It looks like a line-out steal, but one of the Irish guys knocked it on, so the Italians get a second chance. And then after a really slow scrum to get set, the Irish guys give away a free kick, so the Italians from the free kick call for another scrum. And then from that second, or like third, if you count the reset scrum, the Irish win a scrum penalty. So I'm talking about, like, if you're Italian, you probably need to be taking your chances. And I know you can't control whether you give away a scrum penalty or not, but it was just a pretty disappointing one if you're trying to keep yourselves in the game from an Italian point of view, but really good scrum. And the Irish scrum, we said it again in the preview, the Italian scrum was the most penalised, whereas the Irish one was the most, I think, unpenalised, if that's a word. So, yeah, the Irish scrum is the business. Their set piece is generally very good. Ireland from there got a line out maul, and then their execution was a little bit poor as well because, from that penalty they kick line out, their line out maul gets pushed into touch. So the Italian defence was pretty decent. However, Keenan opens us back up again, and he had a pretty good game, I thought. I know Tyke Byrne gets man of the match, but Keenan was pretty solid. Connors was pretty solid. Even Sexton ran the game pretty well. Yeah, a few standouts. Some of the props. Kilcoyne was pretty good. Yeah, Keenan gets a try. Ringrose put an offload into space, and Keenan just put the hammer down. It was kind of too easy for that one, or just too good, whichever way you want to look at it. 20 points to 3. 35 minutes, Ireland go 6 phases, and there hadn't been that many occasions because the penalty count was pretty high, where you'd seen kind of 5, 10 phases. So to go 6 phases was a little bit out of the ordinary, but yeah, Connors goes over. Again, it's Lama with the final offload and the pass, and it was a nice little back and forth. Like, I think it was Kelleher to Sexton to Lama, and then to Connors. So Kelleher to have your hooker who's able to help feed the ball to your 10 as well was also really pleasing. I thought he had a good game as well. If you're going to talk some of the guys up, so 27 points to 3. And it's starting to look like a bit of a hiding at that point because you've had relatively quick succession, with those tries. So, yeah, it's starting to look a bit hairy. Ireland do concede a scrum penalty, which was, I think, their first of the tournament on like 40 minutes. It's 5 metres out. The Italians go for a line out. I wrote that they need to score. Ireland's maul defence was big, but still, Maya gets their one try of the game. It was actually Garbisi who kind of got half through a tackle of... it was Furlong and a guy in blue headgear. It was either Byrne or Connors. And he managed to pop the ball up to Maya, who beat Lama, who was never going to stop him. And they kicked the conversion. So 10 points to 27. 10 points to 27 is looking a bit more reasonable. But you're still quite far behind. And then they don't score any points in the second half, as you can see. That's half time. But a good thing for the Italian guys to pick it up. That's like... They don't know they're going to not score any points in the second half, but it's a good platform anyway going into the second half to at least get their tails up. Earls comes on for Lama at halftime. I'm not sure what the deal was, and Bellini for Sperandio as well. So 2 of the wingers go off and 2 new wingers come on. And then Italy start the second half with a bloody offside penalty again. It's the same thing, guys advancing, and I was pulling my hair out. What are you guys doing? You've literally just ended the first half on a really high note. Why are you doing that? And then Franco Smith must have been radioing to the medics or something, because when one of the guys was down, they were asking, the medics of all people were asking the ref, what are you ruling this for? And he was just like, you guys can't keep advancing. They need to wait until they're onside, then they can move forward. Yeah, so it was a bit of a weird one. A lot of refs would just tell the medics to bugger off, to be honest. Ireland went for touch. They had a maul, a bunch of phases. Furlong went close, but not quite close enough. But then CJ Stander not denying him. So immediately, Ireland basically pushed back that Italian try from the end of the first half by restoring that same lead through Stander's try. It's the bonus point try as well, so crucial stuff for Ireland's Six Nations campaign. 34-10. I know Ireland want to finish as high as possible. People have talked about the financial implications of finishing low down. So when money is tight, they want to finish as high up as they can, which is fair call. 46 minutes, Italy kick it out on the full. Ireland have a line out, which is not straight, so errors from both sides. So still a little bit of lack of execution. 50 minutes, Lowe puts a forward pass in. The Italian scrum concedes a penalty, and then Ireland concede a line out penalty. And again, I'm starting to pull my hair out like, come on guys, get the execution a bit better from both sides. But then I'm given a little bit of joy to behold. We're in 52. Tyke Byrne galloping down the wing, the big giraffe. Goodness me. And then Garbisi's the guy who stops him. But he stops him, as the commentator put it, basically as a speed bump. He just put him off balance, so he fell over. But Garbisi, brave dude. So he's a small guy compared to Tyke Byrne. he just got in his way, and Tyke Byrne flattened him, and it took a while to get back up, but fair call for actually putting his body on the line, because Byrne was moving at a rate of knots. What else happens? Traore does the same thing to CJ Stander, to be fair, and the commentators mentioned the same thing. Not many people do that to CJ Stander. I think Faletau bumped him off the other day as well, so it's a couple of times this Six Nations we've seen Stander bumped off, but Traore just tucked in and bumped off CJ Stander. So a bit of entertainment there after a few errors from both sides. The Italians get a 5-metre line-out, and their line-out also concedes a penalty. Basically, the guys at the line-out were blocking off, so the ball carrier needs to be the guy to take the contact, right? You can't be blocking off, and both sides were getting that one wrong. But to be fair, I hardly ever see that policed. So, yeah, I guess both sides were used to doing it this way because it never gets pinged, but technically it is against the laws. Almost said rules, goodness gracious. Not that it really matters. 57 minutes, another weird moment where the ball gets like stuck in the stands and there's nobody there to go grab it, so there was a bit of a delay. It's just weird stuff in this game. Eventually, Zalocki gets yellow carded again. It's the accumulation of Italian penalties. Scrum wastes a bit of time that Ireland call for, so eventually they just tap and go. Stander, after a phase or two, looks to have scored a try, but the TMO checks for a knock-on. So that one is that the one that's called back for a knock-on? Yeah, no try because there was a knock-on in the build-up. And then Beji gets a second yellow card on 64. So many Irish tries that got disallowed. I'm trying to put my head around them. Beji gets a second yellow card. So it's 15 on 13 for a try. And Ireland on this one don't need a second invitation. Connors on 65. He gets a maul try. So it's 41-10. Lowe looks to have scored another one on 68. He goes through a gap with the two extra men. There's going to be heaps of gaps, but the TMO rules that there's a forward pass from Casey on that one. The commentary team I had was kind of torn as to whether it was forward or whether it was flat. The pass was probably flat. I could see the hand maybe being forward. Yes, again, you can probably see those ones given. If you're Italian, you probably see it's clearly forward. If you're Irish, you probably say it's clearly flat. If you're like me, I'll say it's a 50-50. In a game like this, it doesn't actually make too much difference, but on another game, it might have been important. 70 minutes, Ireland win another scrum penalty and then concede a line-out penalty, so you're still shaking your head as the guys. And the refs having to explain the laws again about what these guys are doing wrong, which is unusual. 74 minutes, it's back to 15-15, so Ireland may be a little bit disappointed they didn't score more points with the extra men, but they did have 2 disallowed tries. Earls does get the final one of the game when they go quick into the corner from another tap. 48 points to 10. It's a bit of a hiding, really. You'll be pretty pleased if you are Irish that your attack, which has failed to fire that well this far, the Six Nations finally does it. Admittedly, the Italian defence has been a wee bit lacking in the Six Nations, and so too it proved here. Still, it's kind of frustrating, though, because the Italians in phases will play really nice rugby. They'll play some quick ball, they'll put the opposition on the back foot, and then it's just like a scrum penalty or a line out that doesn't go to hand or an offside penalty or whatever it is that is really holding them back. Sometimes the passes are just a little bit loose above someone's head or, just a bit slow that takes the speed off the edge of the game. But, yeah, you got to believe they're still building, maybe. The final stats of the game, possession is pretty even, 49-51 territory. The Italians actually have 60%. But the Irish defence tackles at 92%, which is pretty incredible, makes 143 tackles. The Italians, despite conceding almost 50 points, are at 87%. But remember, if it's like a maul try, there's no tackle that's been missed. It's just the power that's gone over. So 167 tackles for the Italians, having to make a fair bit of defensive effort. Line breaks is 8-4, with the Irish having double. Turnovers 5-2, with the Irish having more than double. Scrum penalties conceded 4-1. The Italian scrum was under the pump. The Irish scrum, as I mentioned, continues to be an absolute beast of a thing. Individuals, Negri makes 87 run meters, beats 4 tackles and makes 9 tackles of his own. He misses 2. Lamaro is the top tackler of the game with 18 from 19. The Irish guys, Lowe had 125 run meters, beats 3 tackles and tackles 3 from 3 himself. I know he's still not everybody's favourite. Byrne gets man of the match, makes 10 from 10 tackles. He wins a turnover, beats 2 tackles. Keenan beats 6 tacklers and has 66 run meters of his own. Certainly plenty to like. I thought Connors, as I mentioned, looked pretty busy. Pounced on a loose ball. Casey got just under 20 minutes. I might have liked to see him get a few more because the game was essentially wrapped up and the Italians had a yellow card. They still waited a little bit longer to bring Casey on. Likewise, Billy Burns only got about 10 minutes. I don't know. I feel like the game was in the bag. Maybe they were just going for the points difference, but the game was in the bag. It might have been a chance to give guys like Ryan Baird, Craig Casey, even Billy Burns some more minutes. But I think the former two at least got 20 odd, just under. So can't complain too much. Politani only got like 5 minutes for the Italians. So yeah, good game in terms of the entertainment value. Some frustrating moments in terms of both sides not adapting to the way the ref was reffing the game. Some disallowed tries. One which was a real head scratcher, the Henderson one. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a bit of frustration there. Italy, I think, take on Wales next, and Ireland have got Scotland, if I'm not mistaken. I had to get my missus to look that up because I don't want to see the Wales and England result. I don't want to get spoiled. Likewise, she had to look up all the stats for me, poor woman, because I can't be spoiled to the results. But anyway, 16 minutes. I better go. You guys let me know your thoughts on this one. Is this a proper Irish revival? Is this them meeting their standard that they could have done in previous weeks, or is this just the Italians being poor? Did you likewise see a little bit to like in the Italian side that I did, or do you think it's still not good enough? Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Talk to you again soon. See you later.